Hey guys, welcome back to Dream Chasers Interviews with the Future. We've got a repeat guest on today's show, Josh Ketner of Dream Body Clinic. I first got connected with Josh through what some might consider a bunch of crazy anarchists in Mexico. Those are my types of people, and I've been able to keep in touch with Josh and get to know him pretty well over the past 2, 3, maybe even 4 years now. I'm not sure, but he was on the YouTube channel that I go to for a lot of information. I'm like, man, I like what this guy's doing. He's breaking stigmas, especially at the time where, I think stem cell research and therapy was much more frowned upon than it is today. And you're going to hear, we're going to uncover here today a lot of those stigmas and FAQs that Josh deals with and why this is actually a really powerful industry to be in and get educated on. So Josh, thrilled to have you back, man. Is there anything in today's conversation that you're looking forward to in particular?
Well, I'm looking forward to hear how you're doing, so that anything we can go over, happy to help.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have had Josh on the show before. I believe it was around episode 140 or so. So you can go back, check that one out. That was a little bit more of introductory compared to where we're at today. Today, I just want to dive into it. You mentioned to me, Josh, you just got back from a trip to London. Sounds like you're really moving the needle forward for a lot of things you guys got going on there. So as far as Dream Body Clinic right here in, we'll call it June, July 2022, what are you guys working on right now?
Well, we're in the process of building out the largest stem cell clinic in the world. It's got 2 towers. I mean, it was originally 2 buildings. It was like 10 2-bedroom condos. We gutted the thing. We're revamping it it's basically our own hospital. And we're moving the lab there on site. So everything will just be there, ready to go. And it's going to be huge, big ocean views. It's next to the largest hospital in town. It's going to be a really good thing. We're going to be able to help a lot more people because we've got about 5 offices in the hospital we're in now, and we're out of room and there's nowhere else to expand. So fortunately, the bank of mom, my mom helped me out and got me a loan and was able to do this whole remodel and rebuild. And we'll have the building done, I think early September, maybe
Wow.
even
Okay.
late August. Yeah, it's like over 60% done, and then the lab probably by November. So we'll have it all there.
Very cool. Very cool. And these guys are based out of Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. What has it been like? You know what? I think the last time we chatted might have even been before kind of like the COVID chaos hit, or maybe right around that time. So, how have you guys seen your operations kind of evolve in this phase of time where the medical industry has gone through a lot of questioning?
Definitely. I think if anything, we've been one of the answers. There's been multiple studies done.
That's
in
why you're
Israel.
On Dream Chasers. You guys are the answer. Yeah.
There's in Israel, they've done studies for COVID lung issues. They've done studies with mesenchymal stem cells. They've done it in Wuhan, and there's an ongoing study at University of Miami, and they're all showing the same thing. It's regenerating these people's lungs, and people that get these therapies when they have like the really bad version of COVID where people get intubated and die and such, there's one study that just finished and it was with mesenchymal stem cells, and it was like 100% of the patients under 75 that got an infusion of mesenchymal stem cells survived, and over 75 it was still, I think, like 85% survived. So it was incredible. And that's just that. So we've had people come for that, and we really haven't treated much COVID, actually. That's a surprising thing. It's just gotten people more aware of their health. We had like 2 really slow months, and then it went right back to just as busy, and we're actually busier than ever now. And even with all the crazy flight things, all that, Mexico never shut down. So, we never stopped having patients, and we're getting more patients from the UK. Like you just mentioned, I was just in England. We're getting a ton of patients from the UK, and Canada's back open. So that really boosted us because that's a big part of our business. And the US has just grown like crazy for us. So we've been busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing that stands out to me is within the past year, and I'm sure you've seen this, I've noticed thought leaders like Tony Robbins and other individuals with significant amounts of influence are now advocating for stem cell therapy. And I guess I want to preface this too. We talked about this in our first interview, but one thing that you deal with, I'm sure, still frequently is is this legal? Is it safe? Where are they coming from? And I'm happy to say, I know, like, after getting to know you, that this is a great operation. But for those who are still kind of like looking at this interview or with a question mark or whatever, how would you respond to that?
Yeah, thought leaders are jumping in. Tony Robbins just wrote a book on it. And if you read the first 3 chapters, you'd think he'd be talking about our clinic specifically. He talks about how he went to Panama. He got mesenchymal stem cells for his shoulder. We do those every day for patients. Same exact process. The guy who owns the clinic in Panama was trained by Dr. Arnold Kaplan, professor at Case Western University. So, and Kaplan and his team have advised our lab. I've been to conferences with them, met him. It's all the exact same thing, just different marketing. They got promoted by Mel Gibson onto the Joe Rogan podcast. Man, that was almost like 10 years ago now. And that just blew them up. So they charge a much, much higher amount than, most other clinics because they have that name, but the process and what they're doing is exactly the same as us. So that's grown a lot, and more celebrities are getting into it. There's another clinic down in Colombia that does a lot of the, MMA guys. They do a lot of the pro wrestlers. We've gotten a few rock stars lately. We've had, a few of these kind of MMA type people too. The thing is, we're not going after the celebrity chasing. Like the people who come to us like that, they don't want anybody to know they're doing this. And we don't expect them to promote us or anything. We're just happy to help them. We want to be affordable for everyone, but we want to be safe. So these lack what's called HLA, human leukocyte antigen. That's what would tell your body to reject it. And because they lack that, it's even safer than getting a blood transfusion because, blood can carry viruses, bacteria, all these things. Mesenchymal stem cells can't carry a virus. They have a less than 5% chance of even being able to carry a retrovirus. So, the women who donate the tissue, the placenta and umbilical cord tissue are all screened in depth. And yeah, it's completely safe. We've been doing it for 6 years without a single problem in regards to infection, safety, anything like that.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the big victories or big wins you've seen recently? I know autism is something that you mentioned you get a lot of patients for. Just kind of open the mind of our viewers and listeners, because I think a lot of folks don't realize some of the treatments that they can receive in the first place.
Yeah, it sounds too good to be true. And I think that's one of the problems. It helps too many things. The stem cells are the way your body was naturally meant to heal. It's how you healed as a little kid. We're just getting you back there. So autism, we're seeing a lot of success there because we do what's called intrathecal. We go into the spinal fluid in the back, and that gets right up to the brain. So autism, traumatic brain injury, MS, what else? Alzheimer's, seeing really
MS
good
and
success.
Alzheimer's, that's huge, right? Most people have no idea.
Yeah, and you can stop the progress, and even in cases, regenerate. It'll get rid of any dead tissue and help regenerate the brain. So it's pretty incredible that regard. The one that's the most promising and is shown, because the problem is here, look, we do the most common treatment we do are knees. So joints, but knees in particular, because everybody's knees go out at some point, either the cartilage, the meniscus, the ligaments, all these things.
It could be a new marketing line, Dream Body Clinic. Everybody's knees go out at some point.
Yeah, no, it really, and it sucks, but that's the most common treatment we do. And the problem is once you've done an MRI, you don't want to get back in that tube if you're feeling good. You'll get in it if you hurt, but to get back in there and wait 45 minutes while things beeping and booping and all this stuff, nobody wants to do that. So I have a really tough time getting follow-up data. Yeah, they'll get on video and be like, my knee's better, I feel great, I'm running, I'm playing volleyball, I'm playing golf, tennis, whatever, but they're not going to get back in that machine. So I don't get that hard data. It's very tough. But where I am getting before and after hard data that I think is the most important is, look, you said you go to these anarchist sites, you go to some of these others, doom and gloom, right?
Literally just had Mark Faber was on our show literally an hour ago.
I love it. I mean, they're usually right, but the problem is the media, especially the real media in the States, it's all doom and gloom. They want you afraid of terrorists, school shootings, all this stuff. But the thing that's going to get you, number one is cardiovascular disease. Your heart is going to give out. And we are seeing, I've got it on the site, but we're having patients that had ejection fraction as low as like 30%, getting back over 55%. And when you're down at 30%, 20%, like you need a new heart. You are on a transplant list or getting close to it. And we've got hard data before and after from multiple patients showing they are literally, and this is the last one I got is from NHS. That's the British Socialized Medicine. I have plenty from different, clinics in the United States and such, but these go straight to your heart when you do an IV and they regenerate the heart. There's more, the majority of studies on this kind of stem cell are on knees and hearts. That happens to be what we're treating the most. So we have the most data, the most proof. It's just ridiculous. These aren't the go-to treatments everywhere in the world, but look, they're natural. They can't be patented. So nobody's going to spend the hundreds of millions of dollars to get them approved. Like I know a lab in Boise, Idaho just got shut down because their lab was above GMP standards, but the FDA came in and said, well, okay, now it's a new medicine. You have to file the application. It's $2.5 million for that application. Then you have to go through all 4 phase trials, hundreds of millions of dollars. And if you can't own the patent, get your money back, you will never spend that money. It's just basic economics holding medicine back. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's why countries like Mexico and, there's other not even want to say loopholes, but ways to get premium healthcare service outside of the US, outside of Canada. I mean, wherever you name it, there's just so many different ways. We had someone on the show recently who was talking about getting an operation where it was half the price for him to fly to Thailand, get the surgery or whatever, and then fly back to the US instead of whatever the other option was. And that's one thing I like about what you guys have set up here is it's not too far. There's a lot of direct flights to PVR. Canada, we just moved to Calgary, so I've been like checking every day. It's still mostly connecting in the US. Like I haven't found any direct from here. Have you had any Canadians fly direct here?
There's gotta be. We've been getting people from Calgary for the past like 9 years. Like there's for sure a direct flight, for sure. Like tons of people from Calgary come to Vallarta.
I heard PVR like mentioned at the grocery store the other day. Then I went and looked and like, man, they're all connecting in like Denver. So I'll double check again. Anyway, what kind of, I know you guys offer a white glove service. So someone who wants to come down there, they don't feel like figuring out like the hotels, or the big question, is Mexico safe? Which I'm sure is a little bit of a joke at this point, but what does the white glove service that you guys offer kind of look like? Walk us through the process.
Yeah, so I mean, the first step is just education. You're going to call us. There's no sales involved here. You ask questions, we will answer them. We will help educate you, and you can make a fair, decision from there. And then it's really simple. We've got a couple of forms they have to fill out, but we let people handle their own flights and hotels. Like we do have a sort of travel agency that helps with the hotels, but really you're usually better off just going on booking.com or hotels.com, find something close to the clinic. We're in Nuevo Vallarta, like the Hard Rock Hotels across the street. It's nothing but nice, all-inclusive resorts within a mile of us. There's like 30 of them and super safe. It looks more like Boca Raton here than it does like, Southern Florida, than it looks like, what you think of Mexico. And flights and hotel, once you have that set, we consider that like a deposit. We know you're coming. We're going to have everything ready. So we've got drivers that pick you up at the airport, take you to your hotel. So you can stay anywhere in the greater Vallarta area. We'll pick you up, take you to the clinic for all your appointments, whether it be blood work, MRIs, ultrasounds, whatever scans we need to do, and for treatment, and then take you back to your, the airport on the day you leave. So everything we try to make sure it's as easy as possible. We just can't do flights and hotel because they change too much. And for hotels, everybody wants something different. One guy wants the Best Western, the next wants the Four Seasons. And we have all those options here. We have ultra luxury and we have, really cheap places. So everything in between.
There's some really, really nice Airbnbs in Puerto Vallarta as well. Let's take a look at that.
For sure.
You guys, you're not too far. There's a golf course nearby. Am I correct?
Yeah, the El Tigre course is like walking distance. The Vedanta group just had their first was an actual PGA televised tournament, which was like 10 minutes from our clinic. So there's a Greg Norman course 10 minutes from the clinic now. There's tons of golf, tennis, all kinds of stuff.
Cool, cool. So we might have to do a live diagnosis here, but this is one thing I know I've been talking to my wife about for a while, which is whatever, blame it on COVID, or I'll just take ownership of messing up. But I didn't play basketball that's my sport. That's kind of what I did growing up, all that stuff throughout college. And it had been at least a year since I picked up a ball and played, and was visiting my brother in South Carolina. We went and played open gym. The competition level of that open gym was, significantly higher than I expected. Didn't really stretch, none of that. And so this was this past March, so only a few months ago. I went, blocked this dude's shot, came down to get the rebound after I blocked it. In my head, I'm like I'm back. Like, I know I haven't played in a while, but I'm back. Like, here we go. And as soon as I came down, my leg just started killing me. And I thought it felt like someone had kicked me in the back of my calf. And I later went on to find out that it probably was not a calf injury. And this is just because like the research I was doing. I heard sometimes when you hurt your Achilles, it almost feels like someone kicks you in the back of the leg.
Exactly what I was just going to say.
And I still have a little bit of a limp right now. Been doing some yoga, some hot yoga is helping. But I have this thing in my head. It's like, man, if I can just get to Josh, I think I can be healthy again. So
I just posted a video of a lady who did her Achilles tendon. It's we definitely do that. It's not the most fun place to get an injection, but it works.
What would that, I guess, what would that process look like? Just treat me like a customer coming through. Like, how would I?
Easy. So what we do is we always tell people, if you're still walking, first off, you most likely treatment will work. The mesenchymal stem cells get in there, get rid of scar tissue, then start the process of guiding the cellular regeneration. So whether it's stretched or whether it's torn, whatever it is, there's two options from there. You can either do an MRI where you're at and send us the results and we'll review it and tell you exactly what we can do. Or you can come here, is what most people do. Like in your case, it's not completely torn. You would not be walking if your Achilles was completely torn.
Good to know. All right.
So you'd come here and, our treatment for that is $3,000. We would put 50 million stem cells in it. It would depend where all the damage is after we do the MRI. We'd start with the MRI and then we would put the 50 million in. And in that case with the Achilles, no, we would not use PRP. There's not enough space. It would just be straight stem cells. And yeah, it'd be 1-2 max quick injections, pretty pain-free. You'll feel the poke, but that's it. The stem cells going in don't hurt. And yeah, you're going to take 2 weeks where you're not going to work out. Then you're going to do like 4 weeks of just really light, stretching type exercises. And usually by 6 weeks post-treatment, like you're back out there, in your normal routine. Like I would recommend you don't do like a all-out basketball game for maybe 2 to 3 months, but you'd be back in the gym within 6 weeks.
Interesting. So as far as just kind of keeping in shape, we'll call it cardio after the treatment. Here we go. This is going to happen, folks. Here we go. How would I keep my cardio going? One thing, as I mentioned, I've actually been falling in love with hot yoga a lot lately.
Nice.
But I don't know if that's too much stretching or whatever. Right. So
you have to feel your own body. I can't tell you that because you're the one who feels it, but the chances of you making it much worse from hot yoga is pretty low. I'd keep doing that. You could do like pedaling because you're not going to be moving like your ankle that much. I would not go run. I would just take it easy like that. And then, yeah, if you can get down for treatment, then that's the easy part. Just a couple quick injections. You then, I'd take the 6 weeks to really not do any hot yoga or anything else. But most people really by like 3 months post-treatment are feeling perfect. And that's the normal timeline. The max it can take is like 6 months, but usually by 3 months, you're pain-free and, it's actually real regeneration. So it's not like a cortisone shot. You're not going to have to come back every 3 or 6 months. Like I did my knees 6 years ago. I had multiple meniscus tears, partially torn ACL, and did a follow-up MRI 9 months later. I got a new knee and, I'm still doing heavy squats and in the gym and, I've been riding some dirt bikes lately and no problems.
There you go. Yeah, it's interesting you bring up like the cortisone shot as reference, and just all these other things that are so commonly fed to us as the way to do things. And we're here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, like there's always a better way to do things, and what Dream Body Clinic is working on clearly, I'd say, as an example. So um, it's funny. I'm looking at my studio light right now, and I just had to tweak it before our interview, and now it looks like it's about to fall over. So I'm going to leave you with a question while I go fix the light here.
Okay.
And this is shifting gears a bit, but I think you mentioned it in the green room before we started. And it was very, very important to make note of, which is basically, look, for anyone who listens to the show, for the most part, I'm kind of like the I want to use the right word here. Not a big fan of the medical agenda and vaccines taking place right now. Josh is someone who I think has a very good viewpoint that's more like in the middle ground, not too far left, not too far right, just kind of straight to the chase. So could you share with our audience just kind of what you were telling me about vaccines and like really the best way to go about heading that direction if you ever want to basically get one or like immunize your children?
Okay. This is in regard to children, not for like the COVID vaccine, because that's not really a vaccine. So
I'm gonna fix the light.
Fix your light. I'll tell them. Yeah. We were talking about kids. I have a 7-year-old son, a 17-year-old daughter, and Adam was asking. I mean, it's scary. He's about to have a kid and wants to know, like, which direction are all vaccines bad? Are they all scary? I don't have the answer for that. I hear both sides. The doctors tell me they're great. Everyone should do them. But then the other side, I've got patients that tell me absolutely don't. I'd say the majority of our autistic patients, the story's the same. Not all of them, but probably 80-90% is that their kid was maybe like 2 or 3, maybe even 4, and they got the MMR vaccine, measles, mumps, and rubella. And boom, they went from talking to not talking. They basically autism set in. Now, going back and forth on this, my opinion is that, maybe those vaccines aren't bad, but they should not all be grouped together. And they are grouping even more than that together for some of these vaccines now. They should be individual. It's really tough to find them like that now, but like if you're going to go that route, I would recommend going just, if it's just measles, just rubella, just mumps. I don't even know if that's possible, honestly, but if they have that, because you got to think it from the other perspective. Everything's about liability for big pharma, for these companies. I mean, those are a huge, huge moneymaker for them. They do not want that going off the table. So they got to protect themselves. And there's 2 ways to do that. First, they have all kinds, at least in the US where I'm from, federal protection, where, I mean, if you want to sue a vaccine manufacturer, it is like a special court. There's only so many funds they can dish out. It's pretty sick, actually, when you look into it. But then they back themselves up by doing these multiple vaccines at once, because how could you tell? Was it the measles vaccine, the mumps vaccine, or the rubella, vaccine that caused those results? You could never determine that in a court of law. So just in case that first protection ever got taken away, that's their second protection. So it's not in your best interest. You got to remember that. So I don't know what to do. Honestly, like my son was vaccinated. My wife was all for it. And, he might have been on the far end of the spectrum. He definitely had some cognitive issues, things. And even my mom was asking, hey, you're going to get him tested? He might, he's not full on, but he could be a little Asperger's going on. And we did stem cells, and, he used to have words he couldn't say. And after doing our nebulized stem cells, where he breathes it in because it goes to the mucous membrane up to the brain, he was able to say those words. He get very frustrated with things that was not normal, like whole body would tense up, and he's really, really better from that now. But yeah, was it from that? I don't know. I have no clue. So I don't want to give an opinion one way or another, but I mean, those are things I think everyone should know. Like, don't just trust because some doctor said this is good, because they never show you the statistics. They never give you any info. You got to do your own research. And yeah, if you can get it, I think it's the combination of too much stress on the system causes a lot of these issues, opposed to maybe just the vaccine itself is inherently bad, because the majority of kids are fine. So it seems to be, it just overwhelms the system. But that's my opinion. Could be wrong. I don't hold.
Well, that's the key thing too.
I
Is
don't know.
you throw the word opinion in there, you're good, and I think is a valuable opinion. When would you say? When was your moment when you realized that maybe traditional medicine or the way that you had kind of been taught in schools to look at things and maybe critically think? What was your tipping point? When did you realize, hey, you know what? I think the truth might actually be over here.
Yeah, well, 4 days ago would have been my dad's, I think, 65th birthday, but he died when he was 50 of Lou Gehrig's disease. So that was 15 years ago. And I'll tell you, those 2 years leading up to it, that'll change anyone's perspective. When you have to watch someone just deteriorate and die in front of you, and they won't give you the medicines you ask for because, like, we look for growth hormone, testosterone. If you have HIV muscle wasting, they will throw those at you. But I'm from Seattle, and those fell under the Anabolic Steroid Act. So they could only be given for, certain approved purposes. Like, again, HIV wasting was the one where they'll throw it at you. But for ALS, they wouldn't even let them try it. We thought that was messed up. And then they put you in these studies where you're just the guinea pig. Like, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't even know if you're getting the medicine half the time. Definitely don't do a stage 1 trial. Make sure you're doing a stage 2 if you're going to be the guinea pig, because at least you're getting the medicine. But even then, it's such guesswork, and you just see they're definitely not doing things the right way. They're definitely hiding things, suppressing things, and it all comes down to they don't want to cure. When's the last time they cured something? No, they want something that regulates the symptoms, will make you live longer, and they can monetize you. Like, you as a subscription model is their end goal. Like, I tell people this all the time with statins. Have you ever read the side effects of a statin? It literally, if you read it out and then check what diseases you think it would cause, it is Alzheimer's and dementia, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. I learned this from another stem cell doctor who works out of Dominican Republic. And, he asked an audience that, and all these hands go up, they're all on statins. Nobody had read the side effects. He reads them out loud and says Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. And that is the go-to. And what they don't tell you is your high cholesterol used to be 300. They moved it to 200, I think 6 or 7 years ago. So basically, anyone over 40 has high cholesterol now. And cholesterol is not a bad thing. Right. Cholesterol is what produces your hormones. Testosterone is converted through cholesterol. It helps absorb nutrients. It is a good thing. Yes, it will react to inflammation, but that means you need to fix the inflammation, not reduce cholesterol. It's correlation does not equal causation in that sense. It's ridiculous. It's medicine, in my opinion, in the US has become a cult. It reminds me of how the Catholic Church used to operate. Don't let people read the Bible, just tell them, what to believe, what to follow. And, our high priest, he knows all, listen to him.
That's a great metaphor. I'm surprised I have not heard that.
All we're doing with medicine now. And it's, my doctors here don't like it when I say that, but even they kind of agree, because they're like, look, you're given a list of things for these symptoms, nothing is designed to cure it. So it's not science anymore. It's a cult, and people worship at that altar, and I think it's ridiculous.
Pope Fauci.
Oh, he's the high priest. I mean, just watch that. I mean, if you don't see that now after all that's gone down, I don't know what to tell people. It's ridiculous.
You mentioned, and sorry for your loss. That's a really that adds more value in some ways to the story, though, just to know how your intentions have come from one of the most pure spots it possibly can. Real life experience. Is that something that you guys treat there now? Is Lou Gehrig?
Unfortunately, we've had some patients, and it will slow the progression, and it can help, but it's not a cure. They still don't know what really causes it, how to fix it. So I was hoping it would be, but it has not been the thing, unfortunately.
Got it. And what would you say are you seeing right now? So we'll call it over the past 2 decades, stem cell therapy has emerged and is continuing to grow in popularity and becoming what we would consider a cure, not just a fix, but a cure. What are some new studies, maybe even beyond stem cells, or that other people aren't aware of, that are also helping, people looking for healing in a way that's just really not being covered?
Well, it's not stem, but testosterone. We started with hormone therapies and we still do those, but like the VA did the largest study in history, 83,000 participants, men mostly over 40 that were on testosterone replacement therapy. And testosterone is steroids. Steroids have been demonized because, all the BS with all the sports stuff.
Well,
But
the
like
power, the powers
men,
that be are trying to remove as much testosterone from society as
oh,
possible. So
yeah, strong, healthy men thinking for themselves. They can't have that. Women too. Women benefit from low dose testosterone. You just have to gauge it right, but they don't want that. And yeah, 83,000 participants. I can't believe they released the study because it basically proves that men on testosterone have better cardiovascular health and are healthier in general. So if you're really over 35 now and you're a man, you should get some blood work done. And if your testosterone is not between 800 and 1200, you should be getting on testosterone replacement therapy. It is the quickest, fastest, easiest way to feel 10 years younger, even more, depending on your age. Like, you will feel like you're 25 again. You will have the vigor, the energy. It produces more dopamine. And dopamine is the anticipation molecule. That's what drives us. You don't produce a bunch of dopamine when you get what you want. You produce a ton when you're chasing after it. Dream chasers. It's all dopamine driven, and there's some great books on that. But yeah, that's what you want. And testosterone is incredible for any kind of anti-aging, because stem cells help a ton. I think they're going to be the future of anti-aging. But the first step is getting your hormones in balance. Because you grow up, you have kids, you raise those kids, and nature's trying to get you out of that life cycle. And we know it's hormones. So we do a lot of growth hormone and testosterone. And now we're finding, it's also how long those cells can live. And that's where the stem cells come in. So it all works in conjunction. And, if I still look the same in like 10 years, we know it's working, but it's a long process. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I think you are a walking example. I believe you're somewhere between your mid 30s to early 40s, right?
I'm 39.
Yeah. And I mean, you're looking good, man. So as far as the hormone, I don't know what would the right term be. It's not therapy, is it? Is it called hormone therapy?
Yeah, hormone replacement therapy is
Okay.
the catch-all term.
What are some good resources for people to go to or to go to and for education for that type of therapy?
Oh man, there's a lot of stuff. Our website's loaded with it. That's dreambody.clinic.
Is that a therapy that Dream Body Clinic offers?
Yeah, we offer it, but
didn't know that. Okay.
No, you don't have to, this is a sort of thing like testosterone and replacement hormones for women. Like, you can get those in the States. It can be tough because you got to go to a general practitioner, then you got to go to a specialist, and it's a real runaround. And then it's like they usually don't even know what they're talking about if you even do get it, so they don't dose you right. So you can come to us and get it, or, it can actually even be cheaper to get it in the States if you have good insurance. So I tell people, if you get it there, great. You can call us, we'll point you in the right direction and help you out. But I just know how beneficial it is for people. Like, it's the first line of like feeling better, truly.
Love it. All right. Well, to end on this one, what would you say is maybe a new style of therapy? And what I mean by that is, so we've talked about autism treatment, we've talked about MS, a few other things. Is there a new, call it a disease, that you guys have found that stem cell therapy can help prevent, cure, etc.? Like, what's the next kind of exciting news?
In the last year, we've added 3 new treatments. The first one, maybe that was almost 2 years ago, was the prostate treatment. Most men, as they get older, will get an enlarged prostate. They say that if you live long enough, your prostate will kill you. It swells up, it inflames, it gets cancer. So we are going like right in through the taint to the prostate and injecting stem cells, and we are finding that it is shrinking the prostate and getting it back down, visibly shrinking it on ultrasounds and PSA markers. So that's been incredible. Seen a lot of guys come for that. We've started doing direct to the kidney injections for people in kidney failure. It's a lot of diabetics end up with kidney failure at some point. We can also treat the diabetes with an IV, but yeah, kidney disease, kidney failure is a huge thing. So we're doing that in the operating room, and then also bladders for
I think
women.
my puppy is interested in coming to Mexico too. Sorry.
Yeah, in the new lab, we're probably going to do animals too. Like,
Okay.
Jeff Berwick, I think you had followed him. Like, we've treated his dogs.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can treat animals with these with stem cells too. It's pretty cool. So yeah, there's a lot of. I know a guy up in Seattle that raises prize racehorses, has his own lab and does it kind of on the side because he's a retired doctor, so he knows how. But yeah, it's it works really well for race horses and race dogs.
That's great. All right, and then sorry, one more I'm wondering, and if I missed it because the dog was barking, I apologize. Did you say anything about kidney treatment? Because I'm sure like diabetes or just anything tied to the kidneys has to be something you guys get a lot of.
Oh yeah, we're going direct to the kidneys now. We've cured stage 1 and stage 2 kidney failure with IVs, but really getting it directly to the kidneys is the right way to go. So we got a few patients that have done that. We'll have data coming in soon so we can prove it too on paper. That's why we like those treatments, because we can get the before and after results really easy. You can for sure tell if kidney function improves from some simple blood tests. So we'll have some more data on that up very soon.
Cool. All right. Well, big call to action. I think you mentioned it a few times. Is it dreambodyclinic.net or dreambody.clinic, I think.
I own like all those domains, so any one of them, but www.dreambody.clinic or dreambodyclinic.com. Either one will go to it.
Cool. There you go. And guys, I also recommend following Josh on Instagram as well. It's Dreambody Clinic on Instagram.
It's at Clinic Dreambody. I messed up the first time and lost the account, so
okay.
It's at Clinic Dreambody on Instagram.
There we go. Okay. So yeah, definitely give them a follow there if you are on the gram. And as you mentioned, dreambody.clinic for the website. It's www.dreambody or www.dreambody.clinic. Yes, got it. Josh, thank you for hanging out with us here again today and investing your most valuable resource with us, your time. Really appreciate it. Any parting words of wisdom for our audience?
No, just watch your health. It's the most important thing. Like, what's the point of getting all the way to retirement age and then just being done? You see that all the time. You work so hard for so much, and don't let your health go. It doesn't have to be stem cells, whatnot, but for most men, testosterone, again, the place to start. And working out, diet, just get healthy. It really matters. So that's it.
There we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you as well for tuning into another episode of Dream Chasers Interviews with the Future. I'm your host, Adam Carswell. Again, we were joined today by Josh Ketner of Dreambody Clinic. That's dreambody.clinic if you're going to search him on the web. Thank you for tuning in. And remember, in all you think, say, and do, take it to the next level.